My people, it's about that time.
Like a boss.
Live from the USA, helping you get paid every day. This is the boss of Bitcoin, the Cristo of crypto. It's your boy BK. And if you don't like me, you must not like money. Thank you for joining me, everybody. Today we're doing a live update on the state of the union for the blockchain. Is this the end of Bitcoin? You know, should you sell it? You know, run back to the fiat currency you were trained to worship and, you know, cash out your blockchain equity for some fake paper debt slave notes? Is now the time? We'll answer that question in this video and give you a live price prediction for BTC, how far we expect to fall. But most importantly, try to help you profit from the greatest transformation of wealth in the history of humanity. So if this is your first time tuning in, congratulations, baby. You are now rocking with the best. My name is BK, also known as the Crypto Trader, and I'm the boss of these charts, as you will soon find out. Every day I grace this microphone with my voice is another day you get to profit as a result, and today is no exception. So if you haven't done it already, make sure you subscribe, turn your notifications, and click that bell. I give away free Bitcoin every single Friday, and all you got to do to participate if you want a chance to win is shout out your city in the comments. We have a global community. I believe our last winner was from Slovenia all the way across the world. Bitcoin is a global asset. There are borderless, borderless custodial accounts that essentially empower you to leverage that which is blockchain technology. My name is Brandon Kelly. I'm also known as the boss of Bitcoin, and my goal is to help as many people make as much money as possible. I already changed my life once trading Bitcoin, and now my goal is to change the world by empowering it with the mechanics that I use to trade. It's called the boss method. It's very effective, very simple, and it essentially helps you to navigate the markets fearlessly. And we'll get into the method in a little bit and see what it says for Bitcoin. With regards to, the state of the union, like it's a Red Sea right now. Moses would be right at home. You know what I'm saying? Put a split down the middle of that and have a ball. And this is the entire cryptoverse. This is 1 through 100. On a weekly, you don't see one coin that made a profit with regards to the dollar. Now, on a month, you got a few of them left that had a pretty good August, but, on a year, it's still a lot of money that flowed into the blockchain. But as of late, we're nearing, I believe, the top of a cycle, and we have rescinded quite a bit, right? If we jump into the TA section of this video, this is the chart that I made in my last Bitcoin prediction video, I believe 2 or 3 days ago. All I did was start with this line right here, go from top to top of the intermediate moving average on a 77-minute chart. And then you just basically copy and paste it and drop it into these different circles, which essentially align with different moments of inertia at these different pivot points, right? Did it go up? Did it go down? Did it go up? Did it go down? And then you start to see kind of like how the strata, the tertiary support lines, run throughout this chart. One of the things I didn't do yet, but we can do it here, is our last support line. And honestly, I just kind of stopped drawing the lines at the bottom. I think when I made this video, we were up in here somewhere, 3 or 4 days ago. But now we're all the way down to that lower right-hand side. So we have one more support line. Let's see if we've come into contact with it yet. Right here. So copy and paste that boy. This is pretty much our last resort for Bitcoin, right? And we've sold through it. So the candles have sold through it. Keep in mind, that's not necessarily finalized until that white line sells through it. So right now the candles are at, it looks like 54,000. We need to see a very, very quick recovery above 56,000 within the next day. Otherwise, this is going to be a broken cycle. We don't have any more support within this top part of the chart, which was basically the peak of our cycle. Notice we did kind of do like a top, which is very indicative of Bitcoin completing a quick cycle. But now the $64,000 question: how low will Bitcoin go? Right? And in order to figure that out, I've shown you this part of the chart. These are basically the major cycles that Bitcoin had. This first part was, alt season is when the boss emitted his ether into the world and was ravishly received. Right around that time that YouTube started to suppress my videos, so go figure. But now, here we are, and we finished the second cycle, which was, kind of like a huge accumulation phase and growth phase for Bitcoin. Many institutional investors got involved at this point. Between 2019 and 2022, you saw a lot of corporations and institutions publicly state that they were indeed buying and supporting Bitcoin, right? And here is, boom, boom, just that simple. That's our Fibonacci levels. So essentially this level right here, and this is what I said, if we sell off, that's kind of going to be the buyback level that the market is comfortable with accommodating. Right now, we're already at 54,000. So it's probably going to hit that, probably I would say within the next 3 or 4 days, only unless you see a couple whales jump in the water and start making some waves to essentially save the price, which, you could justify. We have whales right now that are still buying at 59,000. So it's people out there that basically view this as a flash sale, and they're investing in Bitcoin for the very, very, very long term. So on this sell-off, if we don't see, a very, very quick buyback up north of 57,000 within the next 2 days, I would imagine this chart would drop probably over the next week to sub 50K. But I think it has a lot of support there. Like when you go to 50,000, this basically runs through the entire chart. Essentially, what you're getting now is when you go 48, 49, 50 right in there, that's when you're getting the whales that finally made money over here. So they're essentially going to double down because you got whales that bought, in 2022 at 50,000, rode it all the way through this dip, right? Sub 20s, doubled down here once it broke 25 on the way up. And if it drops back down to 50, it's like they already paid it once. You see what I'm saying? So this would be, I think, a very, very, very big area if, we saw some downward pressure for whales to come back in and essentially save the market. So if that gray line did something like that, right, that means these candles would be down here somewhere. But you got institutions that's buying it and willing to pay a premium for it. And that's what we would look to save the market. I think as long as we don't sell off and stay below 50,000, then we shouldn't have to worry about going into essentially a correction. Right now, this is really just a sell-off. It's not a correction yet. Again, we're very, very, very much above water within the, what do they call that? The heartbeat of this chart, like the viability of this chart. It's still a breakout cycle. Like if you look at 23 to 24, it's still a breakout cycle. And I saw this one quote, let's go to CoinMarketCap, right? I saw this one quote on Instagram today, and somebody was like, oh, Bitcoin, I thought Bitcoin was supposed to be a store of value, and they showed this chart right here to where you're like, yeah, Bitcoin lost what? Like 30%, not 30, but maybe 18% in the past day. Like it's been a bad week. It's been a very bad week. But when you look at a year, like, you gotta zoom out to see all the value that has been accumulated. So you really don't have to worry too much about the viability of the asset moving forward. If anything, all this does is verify that this is indeed a flash sale. Like, now you can get the same Bitcoin for 54,000 that 2 weeks ago was selling for damn near 70. You see what I'm saying? The technology hasn't changed. The white paper didn't go get a revision or an update. Like, it is what it is. It already exists. It permeates through our reality at this point. Blockchain is here to stay, and Bitcoin, by definition, is the longest working prototype of such said technology. Therefore, it's only going to continue to get higher over time. What we're witnessing is an anomaly, and actually is not. It's kind of a cascade that I'm gonna get into another video about, but it's a syndicated, coordinated, relief in the market. Like, the whales stopped making waves, and the ocean got quiet, and then one whale moved a bunch of money, and then the rest of them responded, right? Because the whales don't swim alone; they swim in what's called pods, and they talk to each other. Right? With billions and billions and billions of liquidity, they talk to each other. And that's why we monitor the charts. That's why we understand where they fit in that chart. And that's why we can always navigate within the current that they create. Because as long as we don't make the market, we can take the market. You see what I'm saying? Checkmate, game over, tip the white king, start a new game. MicroStrategy announced second quarter 2024. Guess how much money they hold? 226,500 Bitcoin. By definition, they are one of the richest companies in the world with respect to Bitcoin. I think they got more than the government. Government only got like 12, 13 billion. But 226,500, even at 50,000 a coin, that's looks like 113 billion. Well, yeah. Let's see. Units, thousands. That's 11 billion. They almost got more than Uncle Sam. Uncle Sam got like 10. So it's companies here that literally are investing billions and billions and billions of dollars for Bitcoin, right? And they paid 65,000. So what do you think they go do now that it's down to 50? You think they go stop buying? If I was them, I would buy more. If it dropped down to 40, I would buy more. You see what I'm saying? This is the theology that institutions are using to essentially siphon wealth and hoard it for the future. Like, Bitcoin is the money of the future. This is done. So if you don't own it, if you're not figuring out ways to acquire it, then you're going to be behind the curve, because institutions, they got their piece on the board now. MicroStrategy's on the board. San Salvador is on the board. Uncle Sam is on the board. Russia, Vitalik got Ethereum. Russia's on the board. You got South Korea, North Korea. Like, almost every country in the East has been buying Bitcoin for the past 7-8 years. China has its own version of Bitcoin. BCH is Bitcoin China, insofar as I'm concerned. That was probably the real play. People forget when Bitcoin Cash had its fork in 2017, it was 0.3 Bitcoin. Right now, I think it's like 0.01. So it's down 30-1 on what it was in 2017. Like, if, the day comes that China need their own coin on the blockchain, wouldn't it make sense for them to use the coin they've been mining by themselves for the past 7 years? Like, you got to start to think about this in terms of game theory. Like we're literally watching a new game be developed. This is a new field. And one of the things that's discussed in situations like this, because all too often, and I've been there, when the market go bloody, people get fearful. They start counting the money they, quote, lost, but that's why we swing trade using the boss method, because, we can literally predicate when the market's going to recover, when it's going to boom, when it's going to break. This is one of the things Warren Buffett said: I'll tell you how to become rich. Close the doors, be fearful. It was like that moment when he said, come here, and he do his little hand in the mirror and zoom in. Be fearful when others are greedy. Be greedy when others are fearful. And right now, there is a lot of fear in the market. And yes, Bitcoin can technically drop to 42,000. But that's going to take the better part of 2 months of selling off. But if that happens, then Wall Street has to sell off too. Because at this point, they are coordinated together. And I think that's the benefit that we have, is that if one goes down, both go down. Once you get a point of parity to where Wall Street go down 10%, Bitcoin go up 30%, oh, that's when the brakes are off. And, everybody playing their own game at that point. But right now, the whale's still swimming together. One big whale said, oh, I'm getting out of this stock I've been in for the better part of 20 years. I'm going to cash out. And the whole market responded. So now, everybody's kind of fearful of what's going to happen next. But he just told you, be greedy. I told you the best financial vehicle of all time is on sale right now. Now, it's probably going to get cheaper, so you might want to hold off. And actually, since we are using the boss method, this is actually a sell right now. We wouldn't be buying Bitcoin at this price, right? When these two intersections happen, we buy it when it goes up, you sell it when it goes below. And the candles normally follow right behind it, right? So we actually would have got out yesterday, 8.3, we would have sold it up here, right? 60,000, and we already be plus what, 9% on the trade. I don't necessarily recommend selling Bitcoin, swinging it like that, because it's like if you miss it on the upside, which I've done once or twice, it can be very, very frustrating hoping that it falls, because oftentimes it doesn't. But this is like a long-term, I think, concession on the market. And again, it has nothing to do with the viability of blockchain technology or the societal utilization that is inevitable, when it comes to terms to, the world embracing the blockchain. This is really just Wall Street finally self-correcting and the whales accommodating their new investment strategy. But guess what? Just the same as you have some whales selling, you got a lot of them that's buying. Keep in mind, every single candle that appears on this chart is mixed between buyers and sellers. So just the same as somebody sold at 61,000, just the same as somebody sold at 54,000, you got people that's buying it. You see what I'm saying? That's the only way the trade happens. And so I think it's very, very, very interesting to see how this theory comes into place. And my goal is, again, to help as many people make as much money as possible. This is the greatest transformation of wealth in humanity. We are literally upon the precipice of a new society. And I'm very excited to help you guys profit from this transition. This happens like once every 2,000 years, where the whole universe essentially reinvents itself from the inside out, insofar as we're concerned on Earth. Mike Maloney talks about that in Hidden Secrets of Money. So that's definitely a good series for you guys to watch. How to make $10,000. This is going to be easy, because I'm buying Bitcoin all the way down. And once the market recovers, we flip it to the alts and we make more Bitcoin. And Bitcoin makes us more dollars. We use the compound rate of interest in our favor. Can't do it on the way down. I'm not saying short and leverage and use margin. Hell no. We own 100% of our equity. We don't need the banks to finance our decisions. So all I'm doing is I'm investing $300 a month. I just got the Bitcoin today. So tomorrow I'm going to be releasing a video with the next trade, the first trade that I'm doing. And I'm going to be releasing it to this group right here. This is my free trading group, bossofbitcoin.com. All you need to do is put your phone number in on this list, and when I announce that trade, you will immediately be notified. This is, this is how we make money, right? This is like a little barracuda cage. It ain't no whales, ain't no sharks. You know what I'm saying? But when we see a meal, we jump on it. And I think that's what we have setting up right now. Bitcoin is definitely, dropping in price, but we do have major support right around 50,000. And so now we just have to watch how long will it take to fall and how low will it go. Personally, I don't think it's going to go below 50, because even right here, This was a very big area of that chart. That's like 2 or 3 weeks worth of data. And you got a lot of support right there. So I think that's where we're going to consolidate to. That's what, like 52,000. And then Bitcoin is going to decide what it wants to do. Now, if you do see something happen with Wall Street, once Bitcoin does get to that price, like another event unrelated to Bitcoin happens that causes Wall Street to sell off, well, then all bets are off. We're probably going to continue to go down, and we got another area of the chart that we can catch right there at like 38, between 44 and 38, right? But you see these little areas of the chart that are built into it. It's like on the left-hand side, if the market thought about it, then on the right-hand side, it's going to have to think about it again. And so that's literally the easiest way to kind of signal where the price drop is going to come. You just see, well, what happened in the past? You see what I'm saying? Because we understand the present, we can infer the past, or we know the past, we infer the present. 1 + 2 = 3. The future is no longer a question mark. Right? It's very, very, very simple linear progression of expectation. And so, that's my goal for you guys, is to help you make money. You have a chance. Join me on my journey. I'm turning $300 a month into 10 bands. How long will it take? I'm guessing less than 18 months. That's my goal, less than 18 months. So I put in about 2,400. I walk out with 12 G's like a boss. You see what I'm saying? I told y'all put down 2, pick up 6. I'm about to stretch it to 12. You feel me? Join me on my journey, bossofbitcoin.com. SMS sign up and /or. Shout out your city in the comments. I give away free Bitcoin every single Friday. All you got to do is shout your city out to get paid. So with that being said, everybody, it's that time of the day. Signing out, boss. Boy BK, no matter where you stay, Brazil to Bay or California, all the way back out through Germany. Good night, good morning, and good day. Thank you for joining me. Thank you for your time. Hit that thumbs up button for a player one time. Do that for me if you appreciate mine. Till we meet again, stay cryptic, y'all. Peace.
Like a boss. Like a boss.